We're live.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to the SUP Podcast, episode 101. I am one of your hosts, Christini. Across from me, we have my motherfucking guy, Luke Trevisi.
That's me.
And we also have the fucking fan favorite, LZD325 in the house.
Fan favorite.
People don't like me.
They love you, dog. What are you talking about?
Yeah. What are
They
you
don't
talking
like
about?
me.
We are recording from the Stand Comedy Club. They were nice enough to let us use this as a hub for this episode, episode 101.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
3 digits. Now we're going into fucking making more. Here we
Yeah,
are.
buddy.
So what's going on, guys? How was your week? What happened?
Nothing much. Luke?
Nothing much.
Yeah, you guys are fucking liars.
I had some, it was good.
Yeah?
It was good. It was all right.
You both guys got spots in line
Yeah,
at Supreme.
we both got spots in line at Supreme.
You guys were both there Thursday.
I was not there Thursday.
What did you do, sir?
I had my Asian friend replace me in line.
Is it important that people know he's Asian? Why did you identify?
Because it's Asian privilege, bro.
Oh, okay.
It's Asian privilege.
Okay.
They took he took my ID and my credit card, and they took one good look at that, and they were like, "Sure, close enough. That's fine," and then just let him in the store, and that's it. And then Lawrence, how was your experience?
It was what I expected.
What does that mean? What did you expect?
Just getting there, pretty much on time, not getting to the store for like 2 hours. It was cold. It wasn't. And then when you got in there, you didn't get really anything you really wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
And the first week wasn't that crazy anyway. I mean, with the exception of Tupac tees. There wasn't much shit that was,
So wait, did they have the Oreos in the store?
No.
Where the Oreos were just online?
No, the Oreos, I believe, come out at a later time. If I'm correct.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah,
I saw them
they're
already
not
online
yet.
for like $15,000.
That's why, because they haven't officially released
Oh, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Okay, I thought you could get them in the store too.
yet. No,
All right, word.
so you weren't able to get, that. But there was the poncho,
Yeah.
that the free gift that I heard that Supreme didn't put it in everyone's bag.
Ooh.
Some people
Oh,
didn't get
really?
Yeah, it was like some people didn't get the bag. Versus I was at the Brooklyn store, and then the Manhattan store, I heard they were charging people $10 for a poncho. I heard it was a lot of bullshit.
A lot of shady shit
A
going on.
lot of shady shit. I mean, even with me, when I didn't get my I didn't get a lot of the stuff I wanted in the correct size or color, because they didn't give a fuck. They were just like, take this shit and get out of my store.
Yeah.
So I asked for extra large S logo in pink, S logo hoodie in pink, and they gave me a large, and I was like, and they would just take it, and I was like, nah, because the shit is a brick. Like I'm not trying to get stuck with bricks. Like when you start really looking at S logo hoodies and shit, it's not a box logo. You can't just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They gave me a medium and a Tupac tee, which medium is like the worst size to fucking resell.
Yep.
They gave me, they were just giving me shit just to get rid of it. And it's like, nah, if I'm going to get something, I'm not going to end up like selling it for a loss or like just breaking even. It's dumb.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Speaking of dumb shit, that's what we did.
What did you do?
So Chris Ramirez from the Discord, join the Discord if you haven't already. There's a
That's
link in the bio of the podcast. Chris went for me, and he dropped like $1,700 on shit.
Woo!
Yeah, big spender, baby. Big spender. I think we ended up just breaking even for the
Really?
most part. Yeah, because like he was in line. We were like 209 in line.
Yeah.
And as he was waiting, you could just see the prices just dropping. Where even like the record player was like, you make like $20 profit on.
Really?
Yeah. So he was just picking up everything. Picked up some things for some of our friends. He had 2 hologram Tupac tees in his bag. And he was like almost positive he was going to be able to get away with it, but the guys at the front at the register were like, "Nah, can't do that." So even like the one thing that would have done okay,
Made it worth it.
would have made it worth it. No good.
And did you guys get ponchos? Did you have to pay for them?
No, we got a free poncho.
Okay.
He gave it to me because he was like, "Yeah, this wouldn't have happened if you didn't
Right.
get the line spot." So
Okay, cool.
here's your free poncho.
Yeah, I got a free poncho. But I mean, what did I buy? I bought a water bottle,
Mm-hmm.
Tupac tee,
Yeah.
and I was just disgusted with everything else. In there. There was nothing else in there.
He did get the hologram deck. He got the hologram Tupac deck.
Hologram deck should do all right, so I didn't get the deck.
I think that's for him, though. I think he's going to hang it up on his wall.
Okay.
So good for him.
Yeah, all right.
The quality of the Tupac tee is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, conceptually, I'm in love with the idea of that. I
Yeah.
mean, because that was such a controversial thing for when Dre brought that hologram on stage and performed.
Yeah.
To use that in his IP for the collab was so smart, in my
that's
opinion.
pretty smart. I like that.
It's crazy that I would never have thought to do that. But yeah, I looked at the tee and I was like, holy shit, this looks terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
But there is that thing that I feel like people like try to wear. They try to make their Supreme shit look worn, so it doesn't look new.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, oh, is that what they're gonna do now? Make it look distressed for purchase, so because it makes it look like you've had it for a while. But yeah, looking at it, it's terrible. You want to buy a brand new tee.
Yes.
Yeah, this
And
shit
then
looks terrible.
Wear it down yourself. That's the plan. I was gonna get like a 3-pack of Hanes T-shirts, just for the fuck of it. But,
Yeah.
he was like, "Those aren't gonna sell out. Just go another day." You
You
know.
can get that anytime you want, bro.
Exactly.
What about the Forces? Were they available? to
Forces
purchase
were
there?
not
No,
available
forces
yet.
aren't available yet.
Oh, okay.
Forces, are they next week? No.
Some of my friends have
I
them.
don't know.
Some of your friends work as graphic designers, do they not?
No, I'm talking like people that like sales guys that I just know from different
Okay,
stores.
your friends have done coke with people who have them, all right, who are designers for Supreme.
Maybe.
That's probably it.
That's why I'm asking though. I was so confused. I'm like, how do people have this stuff already when?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's always a mystery, but friends and family shit.
Of course, friends and family, you get early pairs. You know, it's the same way people get early pairs of Oreos. You know?
of course.
Yep.
You know, Oreo cookies. I mean, it's if you know someone in the loop or you looped up or whatever, you're gonna get some shit early.
I
so.
kind of want to get. I hope one of us hits on these Oreos, and then we can do. Well, no, Lawrence, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I wanted to do a taste test.
I
That's
mean,
Oreos.
sure, it's just a regular fucking Oreo, bro. It's nothing special to it.
Yeah, just trolling though.
But I mean, that goes to show you the reach of Supreme.
Yep.
it's beyond insane when you look at the accessory list because I feel like they add just a couple more accessories every season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where like they don't make like a big deal out of some of these weird ones, like that lawn chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You think about who uses that type of lawn chair,
Mm-hmm.
and then think about where they leave it. They just leave that shit outside.
Mm-hmm.
That is supposed to be like next to a phone over like kid's toy with like a fucking baby pool next to it. That is not something that anyone who has one of those is gonna care about. But they made it, dude.
Yeah, they did.
That shit is so funny to me.
There's a lot of stuff in there that's real goofy.
Like I feel like even a couple years ago they would have made a big deal out about that catcher's protective chest thing. That would have been like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're like, we made it.
Well, remember they made a catcher's mask.
Yeah.
They really didn't do that well. You know, it's dude. They put their name on anything.
It's wild.
The one item that I should have got was the Zippo lighter.
And you didn't get it.
You didn't get the
that. I
lighter?
didn't
We
get
got
the
the lighter too. The lighter didn't fucking do anything.
Really?
It's like
Yeah,
$20.
None of this shit is gonna do stuff. It's like personal stuff if you want it.
I did want one for myself.
That's
but,
what I'm saying. If you
know.
want the personal, now the online drop is this Monday. So I wonder, is there anything you guys are gonna go for?
I don't know, man. I might might just go for a Zippo for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
Which pieces are people coveting the most? Like
just that Tupac tee.
just the
that's it.
Tupac tee. That's the
I
only
think
one.
so, man.
That's so crazy. Out of all this shit, everyone just wants the Tupac tee.
I mean, the Anorak is cool, but $398. I mean, that's
Yeah, that one's no good. I'm also seeing all the flow stuff is pretty popular right now. I think.
Wild.
Yeah. You know how it goes.
Is this evidence that the bubble's kind of popping? If everyone only wants one thing and they come out with 500 things?
No, because I don't think that the bubble's popping because when you go into a store and you gotta wait 2 hours just to get in, or you gotta see, you see so many people lining up, it's still gonna, you understand what I'm saying? The bubble's not popping. It's not as profitable as it once was, but the bubble ain't popping, bro.
Well, isn't that proof to? If it's not as profitable, doesn't that mean that the bubble is expanding at least? It's getting to the point where it might be a little stretched thin on the surface?
That I can't really.
See,
Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Luke?
the issue with that is that everything's still pretty much sold out.
Yeah.
So it really is not the fact that it's not reselling for more. Maybe it just means the Supreme bubble has popped. there's a possibility on that. But I don't think the overall streetwear bubble has yet to pop. I think
No, I'm not saying streetwear. I'm just saying, like, is this evidence that it is popping?
That
like,
is
it's in
popping?
the middle of the burst.
Well, yeah, I think we're watching the collapse. I think we're watching the collapse of Supreme as like the top streetwear brand. You know.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I don't think. I mean, Supreme still, when you're able to do these type of collaborations,
Right.
and you still have this type of reach. The only streetwear brand that I can say is even somewhat close, and it's not even close, it's like Palace.
Right.
Like A-Life, no. Supreme is still up there. It's still tops.
That's
it's
true.
just not maybe what we're used to maybe
Yeah.
8 to 10 years ago.
That's also true. I'll give you that.
You know, but in terms of you being able to get your hands on, you know, stuff at a, you know, you be able to flip shit.
Yeah.
But nah, it's still the top.
Maybe a new renaissance for Supreme. Maybe everybody will get what they want this year.
I wonder.
That's also a possibility.
I wonder if that Tupac hologram really made me think. What were you gonna say? Something?
I mean, people still gonna miss out on shit.
Right.
But the
But, like,
secondary market is gonna be able to, you know, where you might be able to get some shit for below retail.
Right. That's true. There's a couple items that look like they'll probably be going for below retail. I would like a nice pink S hoodie for lower than retail. That'd be nice.
I mean, I wanted the pink S logo, Eddie, and I'm just like, and then they didn't have my size, and it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, I'll just go to StockX and probably, you know, you can go to StockX
Yeah.
and get it for, and the
It's
S
like
logo
15,
hoodie is,
20.
yeah, it's a nice hoodie too.
Yeah.
It's like quilted leather S and shit
Oh,
like
is
that.
it?
Yeah, it's really nice. So,
I kind of want one too.
but yeah, we're at that stage now where I think Supreme is just not as it's not as profitable, where you can make a lot of money really fast on, especially older items. You know, I remember I was able to sell a Morrissey T-shirt for like $500.
Yeah, that's
wild.
That's good.
You know, a $40 T-shirt for $500 is, you know,
It's nuts.
but you won't get that nowadays. You don't get that because I think either they make more or it's more widely available, or I don't know what it is, but it's good for people who really want the stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who want stuff, All-Star Weekend passed, and as of today, Nike did what I like to call a horror move. They they did the Nike Air 3s in the red,
Yep.
Right.
Unite or whatever they're called, and then they had the exclusive Chicago's that you can only get in store in Chicago.
Yep.
Right.
And then they say, you know what? We've sold all the Nike Air ones we can sell, and we still have plenty more, but let's drop these Chicago's online. And it's getting to the point where it's just like, I don't know, man. Nike, that's why, you know, it should make people think twice about how much they're spending on resale in terms of items. If you miss, you miss. But people were spending, you know, $300, $350 on those Chicago's.
Yeah.
The Nike Chicago's, and then it's like, oh, you know, they came out online for everyone.
And some people even, so I was various locations I was reading about people buying the 5s. People were getting the 5s on StockX during the weekend.
Right.
But then, like, having them drop just, like, next door. You know what I mean? Like, people were buying them while they were there because of the hype train, but then they were available, like, at a party, like, whatever, the next day or something.
Really?
Yeah,
In Chicago.
they're spending, like, $1,500 and shit.
Well, I mean, the whole city usually is, and we've stated this, the whole city gets everything in abundance.
Especially that weekend, for sure. That was wild.
A lot of love.
The whole city was able to. It's always been that way. I mean, we talked about this before. Toronto, New York, L.A. When your city hosts the All-Star game, they send boatloads of sneakers, and if you happen to have a really exclusive sneaker that comes out, you know, that weekend, then you're just gonna, you know, or you're gonna get a shitload of them.
I mean, and just to play off what you just said, I mean, Kanye brought truckloads, like literal truckloads of that weird Batman mobile that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, like that. So I was having a debate with like some home sneakerheads, and they were trying to say that Virgil won that weekend, and I'm like, I don't know, man. That Yeezy move was kind of tight. Yeah. Just to have buttloads of fucking Quantums that you're just giving out like that?
Yeah, like through Batmobiles. Come on.
Well, what we saw in some of those videos were we saw Yeezy giving out, or whoever was in the truck giving out the Quantums.
Yeah.
And you had to take off your sneaker, and dudes were taking off Fear of Gods.
They were taking wild shit.
Wild shit.
Wild shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What a good day to wear New Balances, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
all those dudes wearing Chucks were like, "This is my time."
This is
there were some people wearing like bad sneakers that they told them no thanks.
Really?
There was a dude wearing Air Force Ones, and then they were like, no.
They wouldn't.
Really? I didn't see any of those.
It was in the video. Yeah, they wouldn't accept those.
Wow.
There's a video of it.
Wow.
You gotta have some hype shit to trade for hype shit.
So yeah, like Fear of Gods, dudes was taking. I saw a couple pairs of Fear of Gods being taken off.
Ooh.
And
Jerry, no.
So I don't know who, you guys are who won. I don't know if anyone. I still think Nike won, because if you're saying Virgil versus Kanye, I still think Virgil won,
Yeah.
because people ain't going crazy over
Quantums?
easy basketball sneakers that are gonna release in a wider number.
Yeah.
But Off-White 5s, or just Off-White in general, people flock to more. We had one of our previous guests, Christiana Jackson, Miss C. She won a pair of Off-White 5s.
Really?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow. Good for her.
Wow.
So and that shows you that people are still into the Off-White.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think whereas Yeezys are cool, but nah.
So, is there any weight into? I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was another Quantum colorway that came out, at least seen, which is very similar in color to the second Off-White 5 color, which we were all privy to beforehand. That like lighter khaki color.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Them coming out the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the Quantum and the 5s. Those were like the sort of like the premier platform for those shoes to be seen and worn.
Right.
And then for both Kanye and Virgil to come out with another version of those shoes in a very similar colorway, doesn't that kind of point out that like they still hang out and like make choices together?
Of course.
Of course, dude. They totally hang out together.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying, but like I feel like they're helping each other make business decisions. I feel like they're in a room like at whose ever house.
Oh yeah, they've totally cornered the market. They're monopolizing it. That's exactly what's happening. They're able to kind of dictate where streetwear goes entirely.
I'm confused why no one's pointing out that it's like very similar.
Because I think
Does no one care?
I think it's
Am I the only one that's noticing and caring?
I think you're the only one that's noticing and caring.
I think so too.
I think
Oh,
most
okay.
people are pretty privy to the fact that it's happening. That these brands are all influencing each other and then kind of trying to one-up each other in their own ways. Right? Because you had those Steve Maddens come out, which are obviously...
Oh, dude, those Steve Maddens are hilarious.
Right. They're hilarious because they're,
Yeah, but that's not on the same wave. I'm saying that's those Steve Madden shoes are a perfect example of someone just going like, all right, we have to make the Off-White
Yes.
Chicago's.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different because I'm saying that Virgil and Kanye are in the same room at some point, and they're looking at each other's like swatches. They're looking at each other's stuff's coming out. They're like, "Yo, can I do that?" Like, "Yeah." "Yo, can I do that?" Like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not what happened with Steve Madden. I get what you're saying,
No.
but I think that's a completely separate thing. That is a result of people like scrambling to keep up with trends.
Sure.
I'm saying two trendsetters are like, let's just both make the same trend together.
Yeah, I don't think you can... I think you need to have two trendsetters plus, like 4 or 5 trendsetters kind of deciding where everything goes. There is a weird shadow government to streetwear that is happening.
Well, of course.
Right. But I think you're on the right track. We've got 2 names now. Now we got to find the other 3. That's it, guys.
I guess I'm in my conspiracy bag. Like, Lawrence, you have your conspiracy area with, like, the sneakers and how they drop stuff. I guess I'm more on, like, the back end of, like, I just don't like how there's those 2 guys doing similar shit.
Right.
And then, I mean, going back to just, like, the retail issues that I see that happening with, like, the rewards programs and then, like, backing GOAT and this other stuff.
Right.
It's just there's so much negative things going. Well, I take that back. Not negative. There's just so many things that in my mind could end up being negative that we're all watching in front of our eyes that just no one's saying anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Explain.
I mean, like, this is like monopolizing. They're
Yeah.
monopolizing a trend.
Yeah.
Which to me, cool. I understand that you want to work with your friend and you want to do stuff, right?
Mhm.
But like, monopolizing in the U.S. economy. Now, this is I'm already sounding wild. This is like really in my conspiracy bag.
Let's do it.
You can't monopolize in America. Like there's a rules to get there. You get fined. There's penalty. It's against the law to do this type of thing.
I mean, is it anymore?
I mean, here, there's always backdoor stuff.
Right. I mean, just look at Amazon. That's a monopoly.
Amazon. You can even look at the mortgage crisis that we had to look on all the insider stuff and people.
You're gonna tell me about the mortgage crisis? You're gonna tell me. You're gonna tell.
Just
all
because
right.
you have a mortgage, shut
all
up.
Right,
You understand what I'm saying?
listeners, this is it. This is the moment where Chris Cheney describes the mortgage crisis to all of our listeners. Are you ready? Strap in.
No.
Go ahead, buddy.
It's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, if people are seeing things that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
Now, I'm not trying to compare Virgil and the mortgage crisis or, any of these insider. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there's parallels to these things where it all ends up going bad and bursting, which I'm pulling back to the bubble.
Right.
If Supreme shit is bricking, and the two major influences in streetwear, with the two separate major brands, are doing the same things in similar markets for the same sport.
Yes.
Why is no one going like, this is weird?
Because it's not weird.
What are you talking about? That's totally weird.
It's not weird. It's been happening for forever.
No, it has not been happening forever. Name another instance like this.
Oh god. Give me a second.
Okay. Am I sounding nuts?
Yeah, a little bit nuts.
No, tell me the truth, Al. Am I sounding nuts?
He sounded nuts. Come on, tell him he's sounding nuts.
Do you agree or disagree?
He's wilding out here.
Well,
out of pocket.
No, you got your own. You got your own opinion.
What?
What's your opinion on my opinion?
No opinion. I believe whatever you say is true.
You can't see it right now, but Lawrence is in a rocking chair, thinking about all of the yard work he's about to do, telling all those kids to get off his lawn. We got old man L today.
No, Chris, I mean, sure, Virgil and Kanye are in the lab, and Don C's there, and Jerry, they're all laughing at us.
I mean, for real.
Well, they're not laughing at me. I'm not really participating as much as the next person.
No, you're not participating as me or as much as me or Al is.
But it's just like, I feel like everyone's playing themselves.
Maybe.
That's just me, though. It's annoying to see someone get excited about those khaki quantums,
right?
And excited about the khaki off-whites,
right?
And I go, why do you like them? And they just don't have an answer for me.
Oh yeah, well that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I get it.
That's gonna happen.
They're like, it's because it's the Off-White 5 and the new. I'm like, okay, but what about them do you like? And they go, it's the stuff it's the new stuff.
What about like Fly Knits and Ultra Boosts?
Those are fine.
No, but that wasn't like that as like a correlation.
Fly Knit and Ultra Boost.
Those were coming out around the same time.
We're talking like 2015.
Yeah. It's kind of been happening.
I don't put that in the same light.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's not hype.
No. Because that knit shit was a trend that wasn't propelled by singularities.
Interesting.
That was a industry-wide thing that people were tapping into.
Okay.
Because you could go back to even Skechers have some of that knit-related shit. That's just a result of the industry following a new trend as a whole. It wasn't being propelled by specifically one person. You couldn't point at. You could point at Nike for Fly Knit.
Okay.
And then maybe Adidas following suit. But then that trickles down to Reebok having knit shit, that Puma has knit shit. That's what I'm saying. It goes down to Skechers. That wasn't something that only two people with two brands and two shoes were doing.
All right, listen. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to start working on my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Which is, does Michael J. Fox actually have ALS? All right.
And it was Nike's ploy to sell mags.
To sell mags. That's it. That's all. It's all related to the sneaker business. I promise you. Everything's connected. Amazon moving their headquarters to another place so that they could move sneakers from one place to another. That's all I'm saying.
All right, guys, let's get back on track. Travis Scott. He's
Anybody else updating their phone every 2 seconds?
So, in real time right now, Travis Scott, February 22nd, is supposedly going to sell his SB, his new one, on his website. Me and Luke have been sitting at the stand, constantly refreshing our page, seeing if it's going to happen, but I don't know.
I picked all the magic numbers already. I thought maybe like 420. I thought that was going to be the big one.
Yeah.
Like, 420 sounds like a good release time for a Travis Scott shoe.
Yeah, that's not a bad assumption.
And I'm now trying to figure out other numbers that we would.
It might be a 6. It might be like a 9. I feel like those are drop numbers.
902 maybe. 90210.
No, you stink.
90210. It's a classic. So 3500, maybe 350 in the morning. 3500.
Well, the 6 is he did late at night on his website.
Late at night.
Mm-hmm.
All through the late night. Oh my God, he's been leaving us clues all this time.
You stink so much.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like the other releases, there's not going to be any small sizes anyway. It's going to be all 11 and a half and up. Okay. So and that's one thing that he's notorious for, and they're supposed to be dropping, at retail shops next week.
Right. Did you see the list for New York?
No.
It's just going to be Supreme and Concepts. That's it.
Oh, Supreme's getting them.
Supreme's getting them. Concept's getting them. That's it.
I wonder how Supreme's going to do it for them.
I'm assuming a raffle. I can't imagine though.
Which Concepts? The one in New York? Or
the one in New York.
And Boston's not getting them?
I think Boston's getting them too.
Oh.
But there's like a list. You could go on NikeSB.com and you can find them.
Are they dropping on sneakers or they're not?
That I don't know. I don't think so. No. That's right. That was a rumor. They were saying that it would drop on sneakers, but it looks like it's just going to be in skate shops.
Really?
Which I like that. I'm down with that.
I like that, but I'm not happy with the fact that it's just Supreme and Concepts. Like those are like the two big ones. Like, come on, get it.
You have a link for this because I need to see this real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll pull it up for you real quick.
Text it to me.
I thought I would have liked to see, because these skate shops get to benefit from having all these people coming in through their stores and whatnot. I would have liked to see Cleaners get them. I would have liked to see maybe Atmos get them too. Who else? All the New York shops I would have liked to see get them. I'm a little upset that they didn't, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to fight and claw our way out of Supreme. Good luck, everybody. If you're trying to get them. I'm sending you the list right now. It gives you a list of pretty much every store in America that is getting them.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've seen how they release Travis Scott shoes. It's once again it's part of the Nike goose chase. Like that's what they've been doing now. Everything's a goose chase, and everything is
Does anyone else think that Travis is like kind of biting chocolate for this merch? Oh no, girl. Excuse me.
Yeah,
girl skateboards.
I don't think any of the merch is good. If I gotta be completely honest with you,
he's got like this weird girl Spitfire logo combo.
Right. Yes.
With the skateboarding is not a crime slogan, which that's all right. That's nuts. I just noticed this for the first time. I didn't have any interest in looking at it. Now I'm looking at it how is nobody calling him out on this?
Then you scrolled down and you saw what was going on over there. It's not ideal, man. I don't know. Skateboarding is not.
Two shops in New York. I wonder how much
That's what I'm saying, bro. Exactly.
How they're gonna get a good stock though?
You think so? Maybe. We might actually have a chance at getting a pair.
Two shops. I don't know.
Doesn't seem likely. Doesn't seem like a fun time for any New Yorkers.
No.
But it probably, if it is like an in-store raffle thing, it'll make my life a lot easier.
I don't think it'll do it in store. I think Supreme is shown, or Concepts, yes. But Supreme is shown that they'll do it online.
Yeah. Like they did with the line. Yeah, it'll be.
If it's anything like the line, I'm sure it will not be smooth.
No, not at all. They'll tell you to come in at 1, push you back to 2.
No, I mean just trying to get through online is going to be a problem if if they choose to go that way. So
it's all going to be a mess.
It's going to be disgusting.
Damn.
Do we even like the shoes? How do we feel about the shoes now? Now that we're getting closer to release.
The shoe's fine. The shoe's not. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whatever, just hyped by name shoe. But like if this was a
regular SB drop,
if this was a GR, I think it would still sell. Like people would be like, oh shit, this is kind of cool.
I would have. Yeah, that's the upsetting part. If Travis Scott did not have his name on these, they'd be 100% attainable.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what we've.
That's the game.
That's what we've already established is that rappers sell the shoes now.
Rappers sell the shoes. Episode 97.
It might be 97.
Yeah,
I think it is 97.
Cool.
It is just so wild to think about how like, it helps that it was in their backyard, but like, Ye, Don C, Virgil, Jerry, like having like all that happen, and none of them can dunk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like none of these dudes sell. Can Travis kickflip? I doubt it. Like what's the over under in him landing a 3 flip within 5 tries? It's 0. There's no way.
No, I think it's I think it's at like a 6-1 odds. I think he can do it.
I don't know. And this is gambling that interests me now. I'm thinking about it. Like, what's the over under on him landing?
This is why we need more clout. This is why we need you listeners to start spreading this podcast so that we could meet these people and then challenge them to these weird challenges.
Play skate with Travis Scott.
Play skate with Travis Scott and see how good he actually is, or bad, or how bad he is.
Oh, you know what, El? Someone told me on the Discord that they banned the Quantum because it had 3M hits. I guess they don't allow 3M on court. Which I think I knew but didn't realize.
Wow.
Like when I read when it was banned, I think it was because of the 3M, and I just like left my memory. But yeah, so I guess you can't have reflective hits on your shoes on court.
Okay.
Which I guess makes sense. I don't know how it would really affect that much, but
during a game, possibly photography.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Got to get those money shots, dog. Pause.
This week, yesterday I tried on the Adapt the basketball.
Oh, the BBs?
The BBs.
Nice.
The $400 basketball.
Yeah. How was it?
Disgusting. Not good.
Really? What's not good about them?
They're heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
They're like heavy, and I'm not sure if it's the electronics in them or whatever. But it's not good at all.
Oh.
Did you like get to move around in them a lot, or?
Yeah, I moved around. I let the laces do their thing. It just wasn't good.
So you're saying you wouldn't ball in them?
If they were giving me for free, yeah.
It's some free shit,
$400 plus New York sales tax, no.
When I was in Vegas, I went to a Balenciaga store. I don't think I said this on the pod yet. I tried on like the Triple S and those other like
most heavy sneakers in
dude,
there.
like if you want to like work out in them, that's the only way I see those applicable in any sort of.
Oh, those are like Goku trainer shoes?
Yeah, they're the Goku. Yeah,
you see, El, there's a character in Dragon Ball Z called Goku.
I know Goku.
Okay. And he's got heavy
Don't
shoes.
Don't you dare doubt.
Don't anime-splain to...
Yeah, Lawrence's limited anime knowledge.
All right, I don't know what he knows, man.
I may not be Asian or a white dude who might kill like Chris, but I do know Goku and Roku and all that.
Goku
and Roku.
Yeah.
It's like Mario and Luigi.
Mario and Luigi is Goku and Roku. Goku watching a Roku is fucking funny.
That's fun.
No, he's more like Rock Lee in the tuning exam.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's another good example.
But even the runner, like even that crazy ass technical runner that they have, bro, it feels like they're both 20 pounds each.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very very heavy.
They call them on too. Yeah, they call them runners, but they're not meant to be ran in, right?
No, I don't think so. If anyone ran in a Triple S, I think they
your ankles would break.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know, dude. But like, you wouldn't be able to get that far. You know what I mean?
If this podcast had more clout, then we could buy a pair of Triple S's, and then we could test the shit out of them. We just wear test them on our professional running friends that we've made through all the clout that we've got.
Mad clout.
And we're back.
And with a heavy heart in this part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we as most of you have probably heard, Pop Smoke is no longer with us.
I'm
And
sorry. Hold on, Chris. I'm sorry. That was the worst fucking intro I've ever. Like, I swear to God, it was just, it just felt so like not like natural.
Genuine?
Like, it just felt
Yeah.
with a heavy heart.
With
Like,
a heavy heart. With a heavy heart, we are back.
all right, Lawrence, take us in, buddy.
Thank you. I wanted to take us in anyway.
Okay.
So on Wednesday, I believe, Wednesday morning, I get a
believe
text
so.
from a friend, and he's like, "Yo," and like, Pop Smoke. And first thing obviously you do when you see that is you Google Pop Smoke, and
Right.
then you see that he was gunned down in Hollywood Hills,
Yep.
and 20 years old.
20.
And he had an energy about him. It was Wednesday, correct? I want to make sure.
It was Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday, right? I
Yeah.
just wanna-
February 19th.
that was Wednesday, yes.
Yep.
And the kid had an energy about him. You know, me, I'm in my 30s. You know, Luke's in his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Chris is, you're about to be 30, right?
I am 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
31 April.
You're turning 30 in April.
31
31,
April.
okay, so Chris and I, we're both in our 30s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I kind of look, you know, I look back when I was 20 and how little you know about the world.
Yep.
But for someone to be that successful and have, he had Brooklyn and he had New York City buzzing in the summer,
Yeah.
and and to really start achieving or getting to that point where you're about to have some mainstream success, and to lose your life violently, it's painful, man. It sucks, and you know, we've seen, you know, Juice WRLD and Mac Miller, and we've seen all these other rappers die.
Too many, too quickly, too.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of them, you know, you see those guys, you know, they have, you know, whether it's a drug issue, where it's like an overdose or whatever. But this kid was, you know, gunned down, murdered, cold blood.
In his house.
In his house.
In a house that he was, you know, staying in.
It was a breaking and entering.
Yeah, so it was a home invasion, and he lost his life. And you know, you just obviously you know, your prayers and sympathy goes out to, you know, his families, you know, and then you see so many people that were just touched by the kid's loss, you know. Even me being from Brooklyn, you know, you're just like, God damn, like, I get excited when I see a kid from Brooklyn make it in the rap game, whether it was Bobby Shmurda or Tekashi or, you know, whoever, you know, Casanova, all these dudes who, you know, are from Brooklyn, and you see Pop Smoke and he's doing songs, you know, with Travis Scott and Quavo and all these, you know, people that are big names in the industry.
Yeah, heavy hitters.
And it just honestly sucks. And, you know, it should be a wake up call to whoever sees something like that on how to move, you know, in the industry, and how to, you know, that this shit is scary out here. You know, you make money, and then it brings up a bigger point where you hear a lot of these, you know, these interviews with some of these guys, and they're like, well, you know, you got to check in. If you come to our city, you got to check in with, you know, you making money, you know, you got to let us know, basically, you know, where it's like you just can't roam freely through the city. I don't know, whatever shit Pop had going on with whoever, it definitely should not have ended that way.
No, the street shit in this internet era, somehow they got to figure out where to meet in the middle. Because, like, I mean, Tekashi's the most perfect example of it, where he was just like, I'm going to check into shit. And he's a young kid. That's how young kids feel. It's like they don't know better yet. You got to at least explain it. Like, he didn't have, like, a real good mentor. I don't know who Pop ran with, but, like, I'm sure if there was someone in his corner going, like, yo, like, there's a couple rules you got to go by, just, like, I'll help you, whatever. But, like, they don't even have that anymore because the kids blow up so young on their own merit.
Yeah. I mean, Pop definitely had, you know, I know I saw a lot of stuff 50 Cent had posted.
Yeah, 50 was heavy because, you know, I guess he was a big influence in Pop's, like, music career. Or influence, whatever.
But, yeah, it just goes to show you that this life is precious. And nothing's guaranteed. You know, he was on Twitter a couple hours before he was killed.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he was on Instagram just living his life. And then he didn't see, you know, the next day. Also, we lost a stand-up comedian who was well loved in New York City, Steve Whalen,
AKA Mr. Jokes.
Mr. Jokes.
Mr. Jokes, what did you write today?
Yeah.
Which
That name alone, that we all identified him as Mr. Jokes, should signify how strongly he was knit into this community that we have here in New York City.
Mr. Jokes.
Yeah.
I remember he was one of the few guys that if they asked me to do a show in Staten Island, I would go and do the show.
Oh, absolutely.
He had a show in Staten Island, I remember maybe around 9 years ago, and he asked me to do it. And I was like, of course, and a lot of times I would cancel if I had to get on a boat to go to your show. And, he was just well loved by the comedy community. And, it hurts anytime you see someone that and, pass. But he definitely, like I said, left an imprint in New York in terms of the community. So.
All right, guys. So now we have a special guest that's here, gracing us with his presence. My friend from the Ecko days.
Which that's how you refer to it, the Ecko days.
That's exactly what I do.
I feel like that's the biggest positive spin you could put on it.
Yeah. Notice I didn't mention collective. I didn't mention
right,
that
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you just referred to it as Ecko, which technically we didn't work for Ecko in any way, shape, or form.
No, I did before you got there.
Got it.
So I say Ecko days. But we have head of marketing at Network. What's your technical position?
Director of merchandising.
Director of merchandising from the Network app. Holland Smith is here, guys.
Hey. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man? Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good. Yeah, so yeah, what's up? There you go.
Sup?
Sup?
So we're happy to have you.
Thanks. I'm happy to see you, man. You look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I got a haircut today, so that's a lot
so
of
this
the.
Isn't like how you keep it on a regular basis.
No. Believe me, I was bushy yesterday, but
got it.
No, yeah, but great to see you, man. We're gonna catch up after the episode, but
Can't wait.
just to really dive into it, apps now. Yeah, get comfy real quick. Apps now have sort of started to begin taking over the landscape of sneaker purchasing, how people consume their content. Just to get direct with it, where does Network fall in the landscape of these sneaker apps currently? Like, where would you put them next to like the Sneakers app or any of the other ones?
Yeah, so Network's idea is, commerce through content, really. So every day, it's sort of like Home Shopping Network or QVC for the hypebeast world. So every single day at a specific time, there's an episode. That episode is video based on the app. There's a host, kind of QVC style. Sometimes there's also footage shot with the brand. But you're really focusing on like one capsule or one product at a time to tell the story behind it while selling it. So kids are basically shopping while watching video. Again, similar to what like our moms did with QVC when we were kids.
Right.
But it's with this generation, collectible consumers and people who are like fanatics for anything, whether it's toys, sneakers, or apparel, because we kind of cater to all of those.
Hell yeah.
They want to know everything behind it. They want to tell all their friends that they know everything behind it before they get into it. So the idea is to kind of give them a full access to the story while they're buying.
Okay. And how would you differentiate Network from any of the other ones? Or you're saying that QVC sort of style is what is...
I think that's probably it. I mean, so there's no one doing exactly what we're doing in that way. The founder of the company, Aaron Levant, had kind of one successful business after another before this.
Tell the story about
it. So he founded Agenda Trade Show, which was really the David and Goliath story of trade shows in the sense that they were a small mom-and-pop trade show out of San Diego that was competing with ASR, which was the big show. Their only goal, I believe, at the time was to get ASR to buy them. They weren't really even trying to stand on their own. They were just like, hey, if we mess with you enough, you're going to come offer us some money to get out of here. In the long run, they beat them and put them out of business, then eventually went on to beat the street and urban shows in Vegas at Magic and put them out. So anyways, that was Aaron's first big endeavor, was the Agenda Trade Show. He sold it. He then started Complex Con, which is a very familiar show to a lot of people now. It's one of the most relevant things in the street and collectible culture. He founded Truff Hot Sauce, which is the biggest hot sauce in the country right now. It's on,
know that.
Yeah, it's on Oprah's book list like 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's
good job, Aaron.
Yeah. So anyway, so this was his new project, and the way it kind of started is there's a comic book store in LA called Meltdown that was like.
Oh, I know Meltdown. Of course I know Meltdown.
So you like comics then?
Yes.
Yeah, not everybody knows about Meltdown, but if you liked comics at all, this was like a landmark throughout the 90s and early 2000s where, kids, whether they were buying a comic or not, it was a kick-it spot. You'd go there to just chop it up with other comic nerds and really just, hang out.
Yeah, they used to host comedy shows in the back, too. That's how everybody here knows Meltdown, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
So Meltdown was a landmark for a lot of things. And so in the back, a lot of companies we see today were actually birthed there for whatever reason. Like the people who designed various brands started out of there. And so the concept for Network started out of there. Basically, Meltdown was doing the same concept with comics and toys, and it didn't really take off. One of the partners in Meltdown is Jimmy Iovine's son, Jamie Iovine.
Okay.
So Aaron Levant linked up with Jimmy Iovine, and he said, hey, my son's got this great project. It's not really working for comics. I want you to turn it into something bigger. That's the short, version of the story. So Aaron took the property Network he already had. He had that name and turned it into. So now we do comics, art, collectibles, sneakers, fashion, everything kind of within that. Everything that there's fandom around.
Because when you texted and told me the story, or like early, like months ago, whenever last time we were talking, I mentioned it on the podcast, and everyone's kind of like, "What? Oh, all right." But the way you just spelled it out was way better.
I'm still getting the elevator pitch down. If you will, 'cause it could take, like at first, it took me maybe like 4 or 5 minutes to explain that. And now it's still a couple. I'm getting it shorter and shorter, but it's not the simplest concept. But once you get used to it, it is pretty simple because we're all familiar with Home Shopping Network and all that.
Yeah.
And how did you end up there? Because you have, like many people that I've met in the Ecko days, have bounced around a lot.
I have. So I was in streetwear for like 15 years probably initially, which was around the time you met me. It was probably like 12 years into that or something.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted out of it. Like the wholesale business was getting to a really bad place. The only people surviving in fashion were really either like a Nike Adidas or like a direct-to-consumer brand like a Chinatown Market. And the reason for that is just the cost of production, the saturation of brands, all these different things made it so you can't really be profitable selling wholesale to a retailer and then that retailer selling from there to the customer.
Right.
The only really way to be profitable these days, for the most part, is to sell directly to the consumer on your own website. So a lot of the multi-brand retailers and things I'd worked with, it was a tough time. So I definitely wanted out anyway and to find something new. And I think, as you remember, I smoke a lot of weed.
Yes.
Like a lot.
Yes.
So cannabis was like a really, I'm in California. Cannabis was like, let's go. I'm ready. Let's do this.
You're all in. I got you.
And so and the cannabis industry. So I spent the last 3 years working mainly in the cannabis industry.
Dude. You're fucking blazing, my guy.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like in cannabis, they're kind of looking for the same thing we just did in the past 10 years in streetwear to be done there. Everybody's scrambling right now to own brand, right? Because like at the end of the day, I don't really care about your brand if I like the flower, if the weed's really good, and I can tell that by looking at it, your brand is not that relevant. So everybody's kind of afraid they're going to get pushed out by like big businesses that come in. So they're all trying to get branding right now, make themselves cool so that kids want them regardless of who else comes in the market.
They're trying to pull a Camel effect.
Exactly. Yeah. Camel. Yeah. Good call. Because Camel had, remember, like Camel Cash you could collect and buy like merchandise out of their catalog.
And it was like a friendly animal that
you
people
had Joey
could.
Boy, Joey Camel.
Yeah.
Joe Camel was the shit.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I think I thought he was the shit as a kid, and I smoked cigarettes because of that probably for a while.
That's true.
He definitely did not help.
No.
He
not
didn't.
smoke.
And the Marlboro Man, they were cool.
Yeah.
When we were kids, they both looked
those
pretty cool.
symbols as corporate entities really were like hit home.
They worked. Also, remember when we were kids, there was candy cigarettes?
Yes.
Yes.
Why would that exist?
Bubblegum cigarettes.
Why would that be a
man.
thing that you'd give a kid?
It was the fucking corporate entity of tobacco trying to make their way into. Yes, man. Exactly.
I think it was.
It was though.
So I hopped into cannabis, found a brand called Z Natural that is the first brand in cannabis dedicated to sleep.
Hell yeah!
Oh, I fuck with that.
Yeah, so it's a vape pen
cool.
that's specially formulated to help you sleep.
I'm going to talk to you about that after.
No, awesome.
I want some sleep weed.
I can get you some of the pens.
Sleep weed.
Sleep weed.
And so it was great. Like for me, I've always been a product guy, and coming into cannabis to be a product guy, you end up having to learn the science. So
Right.
that was a bit of the first challenge. There was like, I had to understand how cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, and everything else that goes into a plant's chemical
What did you just
makeup
call me?
works. Yeah, you heard me.
man.
You're a flavonoid. No, you're not. That's technically incorrect.
You really got more big terpene energy.
Yeah,
bro.
you do have some big terpene
All right,
energy.
cool. All right, yeah. That's
Just
why I need the
funky.
sleep weed.
Funky is what that would mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I jumped into cannabis and had to learn product and learn to make that sleep pen the most effective sleep pen there could be. So I got really into the science side, loved it, but it was tough. That industry is going through a lot of trouble right now with specifically in California. I would say Colorado, Washington, Oregon, crushing it. They're doing a great job. Massachusetts, I hear, is doing a great job.
Yeah, they are.
New York, I don't know what they're doing yet.
Still figuring it out.
Still figuring it out. Yeah.
Still figuring
Maine's
it out.
doing a good job. A lot of states are. California's a mess. They're like the first ones to go medical 15 years ago, and they still haven't figured anything out. So brands are going out of business left and right there. It's incredibly hard to get legal. And so in the end, like, I actually still love cannabis and would love to do more work in there. This job just came up. It was a great opportunity. I know fashion well. It's just a more stable thing. I'm getting old. I need insurance, that type of stuff. Like, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that's the only reason I took it. But like, there's stuff like that motivated this decision for sure. Is like, I just can't hope for the next check and all those things anymore, like when you're freelance and doing consulting and all that stuff.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, man, and it gets tough, right? Like some months are ramen.
I got an interview next week.
Yeah, so I left cannabis, came back to network. I've known Aaron forever just from the agenda shows and all the other stuff he's doing. So
he's a great guy.
Great dude.
I helped him and Seth make some of those visuals for.
Right, because Seth was really close with him, and he used to actually come out sometimes. You've probably already made decks for him.
I have.
If only you could make them now. I would love you to come work and make some decks.
Yeah, I would love that.
Chris is a really good deck maker. Do you guys have you dealt with him on that?
No, I haven't.
He hasn't shown us his decks.
So there's
my tech decks. That's what we're talking about.
Chris, show your decks.
No, he's talking about even back when we first met, and even before you came to Ecko, I refuse to call it the collective. Yeah. I made all the marketing sales pitch decks for the owner, Seth.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's not really even enough. Like, the guy only took meetings with the presentation ready, our boss. So Chris had to make a deck presentation for every moment of the day, I felt like.
I used to have there was like one generic one that he would always use on like new pitch meetings.
Yeah.
Because when Holland came on, that's when he was getting rid of the Ecko name. He sold it to Iconics. And then that's when he was buying up smaller streetwear brands like A-Life, Wu-Tang, Rocksmith. There was a bunch of people in the building. Yeah. And he would use this one presentation for every meeting. So I had to have 10 printouts at least because he didn't tell me when the meetings were. He didn't tell me who the meetings were with.
Oh, this is why you're a weird conspiracy theorist now. You can't trust anybody.
That's probably not why.
No, but he would basically be like, Chris, I need 8.
Yeah.
And he didn't even say what it was. I just knew it was that, so I would always just take it out and give it to him. Okay. But yeah, that's how Holland met me, as like the deck guy.
You were the deck guy there. You did other things, but like I've worked with a lot of deck people, and usually what happens is designers make decks and they need to be spoon-fed every single detail in order to make what they know how to design, but in order to make it a good business pitch, to understand the concepts of the business behind it. Chris didn't really need all that. I feel like Seth would just be like, I need a fucking deck, and then you'd come out with a deck. Like, I've never really seen anyone work like that.
Literally, dude, he would give me no information.
None.
He would give me no photography to use.
None.
He wouldn't even, like I said, tell me who it's for.
Yeah.
He would give me a general idea. One day, dude, he came in, and this is when he was trying to get the vape shit going. You remember that?
Seth tried to get vapes? Oh, yes. Tobacco vape. Like e-cig vape.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
He was like, I need a e-cig deck. I said, okay, who is it? And before I even got the question out, he turned and walked away.
And I do remember that.
So like
those guys came to the office who like owned the like Blue or one of like the multi-billion-dollar e-cigs, iSmoke, but they were trying to launch something cool and wanted Seth's help. That's right.
So literally, he told me that morning, and that later that day was the meeting.
Wow.
So I had to pulse. I was asking you. I was like, "What is this for? Who is this?"
Yeah.
And there's this other dude, Greg Weinstein, who was like a content head of Slam Hype at the time. And I was like asking him. I was like, "What are we doing here? Now we're doing cigarettes and shit. This is weird." But yeah, that's what the environment was like there.
And I don't even know if you've never made a deck, you saying you got notified in the beginning of the day and had to hand it in later doesn't even put in perspective how difficult that is. Like I think of it as like, whatever hard-ass report you had in high school that you waited till the last night and then realized it's going to take you like 10 hours, that's what a deck is like for me, is making that type of thing. Like a long-ass presentation that's just obnoxious, and you don't really know what you want to put in there at first, so most of the time you spend is just sitting there thinking about what to do.
Yes.
Once you kind of get it, you can go, I feel like.
Absolutely.
It's figuring it out. Is a lot of times you're literally just staring at the screen for hours.
It's a lot of how you want to tell the story. And that's why I'm so when we talk about like different product on the podcast, I always go to story. That's because I'm so story focused, because everything I had to do was story based. Like if you're not telling a like beginning to where's the problem, rising out, here's the solution, climax, or whatever, then it wasn't worth the time because then you're just not saying anything. That's what a deck is, though. You need to figure out like how you're going to broach it, like how do you phrase the problem, like where in the market space can you point out that doesn't look like it's a weird problem to solve for. It's all those different things. But thank you, Holland, for appreciating my deck work.
You're great at it.
I really appreciate
and
that.
And you just touched on something that's kind of like where we're at today with products or with clothing especially, which is that like if there's not a story, it doesn't matter anymore. So like there's super high-end fashion, which matters, and there's tons and tons of fast fashion, right? Like Forever 21, H&M, all that shit. Those guys are dominating. And then there's really high-end, which does well because there's always going to be some rich people who will buy really expensive shit, and that's kind of that upper tier, but it's very small. Everything in the middle now is failing unless there's a compelling story. So story could be a collaboration between two brands, and you're telling the story how they came together. It could be that you're doing an homage to some sports team that never made it from the 1900s or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not collaborating, it's some sort of story you've put into your product is all that works now. And so that's kind of bringing it full circle. That's kind of the idea with network is like, we know that products aren't working unless they have that nowadays. So we're telling the story while selling it. We're allowing the brand to work with us to make content and put out that story because it's, like I said, fashion's been in a weird place. And, and it is primarily because of the fast fashion giants have kind of fucked it all up.
I don't mean to dominate all the question, guys.
No,
if you got another one, hop in.
No, please. Rub each other's decks. It's fine.
Rub each other's decks. Oh, my God.
How would you... Fuck you, Luke, you fucking piece of shit. So, all right, going back to the story and kind of taking it back to a product that we talked about earlier in the episode and that a lot of people are talking about now. So how would you categorize Virgil and Nike, specifically something like these Off-White 5s? Where that's not so much a story being told.
There is, though.
There is, but, like, how do you categorize that story compared to what you do at Network?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, but I think, like, when you have someone like Virgil who's so prominent now that we've all been on this ride with him in a way. Like, we all saw him as Kanye's friend, just silently in this group that was always pictured, but we didn't know their names yet. Yeah. We all started learning their names very quickly. Like, I think that was the first entourage I ever knew all the names of pretty early on in Kanye's career, right? Then you see a couple of them start going and doing their own things. Don C goes and does this. Ivan Jasper does some deals. Virgil's story has been fast lately, but we watched it for a long time. So I think any collab he does, it's Virgil and Nike, so it's a collaboration. So there's already the story of two brands came together. But there's also the bigger story that I think we've all just been on this ride with Virgil. And, like, whether you love him or hate him, and, like, some of the stuff he does might be more hype than design. Some might be more design than hype. Like, I think he's accomplished so much that's been cool to watch. Like, for me, I've enjoyed watching this basically, like, regular guy become the head of Louis Vuitton. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that. He is like a regular guy.
Kinda,
this guy really knows how to spin a web, huh?
Well, yeah, maybe, but, like, he's kind of a regular guy.
Yeah, he's kind of
a regular
like,
guy.
He's not an experienced designer. He's got a lot of experience now over the past few years, but he's not classically trained in this stuff.
Yeah, he went to school for architecture.
Well, because
I forgot he did go to school for architecture, which is design, but different.
Yeah, it's different.
He was the last one in that picture to, like, obtain a large amount of success. Because, like you said, that picture that went around, 2008, 2009, with Taz and, Kanye and all those guys, like Don, like Virgil was but he's also the last one. But now he is, and obviously I'm not going to say he is equals with Kanye, but he is the one that's underneath him, right underneath Kanye.
Put it this way, every rapper lately is mentioning Virgil. They're not all mentioning Kanye, right? Like, he's in a way he's on more people's tongues than Kanye has been in a while. I think there was
I can agree with you on that.
Right? Like, and I would still agree Kanye's bigger. 100%. He's probably the Michael Jackson of our generation. He's like the biggest guy there is. But yeah, right now, Virgil's the one on everybody's tongue, for sure. Virgil's the one they're talking about. It's crazy.
We had this conversation earlier in the podcast where, we were saying who had the better all-star weekend, Kanye West with the release of his Quantum basketball sneakers, or Virgil with the Off-White 5s. And, I said, I think Virgil is, he's able to pull a reach of people who may not be the biggest sneaker fans, but people, he was like, people like, I want these Off-White 5s.
Yep.
So, they're right underneath each other. Don's there. But just that whole group, I've never seen anything like that where a picture that was mocked on the internet.
Right.
For so long.
Remember South Park?
South Park.
Yeah, it was on South Park.
Did it.
And now it's like, who's having the last laugh?
It's pretty cool.
It's
I've really enjoyed watching that. I think he's I think he's proving more than any of us could have expected, which is always cool, right? Like if when you, not that I counted him out, but I never, if somebody asked, how far do you think Virgil could go? I would have described a ceiling much lower than this.
Oh,
Yes.
much lower.
Yeah,
way lower.
Yeah, I would have been like, how do you consider a basement ceiling?
Right.
The ground floor? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Like, and even when I heard that he was creative director of Louis Vuitton, I'm like, huh? Like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
How? Yeah.
How?
So it's amazing to watch. That's all. I'll admit though, like I went to Paris for Fashion Week recently, and I went to his. I didn't get to go to his fashion show, but I went to his. He did a.
Flex it, dude. Flex.
I didn't. You're right. But I didn't even mean it to be a flex.
I'm busting your balls. Keep
It's
going.
the one time I'm gonna knock him. I feel like I just complimented him so much. So I went to this art exhibit of his, and I felt like I was being pranked.
Really?
So it was a plant art exhibit. So he had all of these cement plant pots with plants in them, and there's a whole bunch of fashion people in there sweating him. He's there, Murakami's there, and they're just like everybody wants their picture with him, and they're all taking pictures of the artwork. It literally was like cinder blocks that they put plants in. I don't hate being that guy that's at an art thing and is like,
so
I could have
deep.
made this. But like, it was like that. Like everybody, it's. So I felt, I don't know if you remember, but at one point, Payless they pranked a whole bunch of fashion.
Yeah, they
influencers,
had
which is
that
one of my
fake pop-up
favorite things
shop.
ever.
Yeah,
they
that was
pretended it was high-end shoes. All these fashion bloggers are going nuts, and then they show them it's Payless. I felt like that's what was happening when I was at the Virgil plant exhibit because there's all these fashion dudes and they're all sweating it, and I'm like, y'all got to be fucking with me. Like, this is not, we're looking at cinder blocks, right? Like, is everybody, and there's like one streak of spray paint on it or something.
Right.
Like,
It's about the urban culture and then the earth, like, pulling it out of it. Bro,
that's
deep,
what I feel
bro.
like was being
It's
said,
deep.
and I'm sitting there like, come on, guys.
See,
like, come on.
Now, I've been on record many episodes, many times saying I don't like how Virgil has rolled out the ideas that he's had.
Yeah.
The way
interesting.
the way you framed it though at the very beginning, where it's like, no, he's just a regular guy. We watched him do all this shit.
I feel like that's an important part.
I appreciate
Yeah.
now that I'm looking back. I'm like, I should appreciate that a little more.
Yeah, that's true.
I still hate everything he's done conceptually
Yeah.
because he explains it so poorly.
Yeah.
The holes in the fives
Dude,
were
the
like.
holes in
fives
the
was
five.
wild.
It was
right?
like oh, this is represent
It's the
air.
same air. We all. I'm like, what are you talking
My
about?
guy, there's holes in it already. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I also don't think a lot of this stuff's going to be remembered well, if that makes sense. So like even the first
we'll hold on to it.
maybe, but like even the
We'll
first,
hold
what was
on
the
to it.
first one that went really crazy? Was it the Prestos that he did? Remember? Where
Well, the first 10, the Chicago was sort of like.
what was the goofy one? It was the Prestos, right? That's what I'm thinking of.
Was it?
My point is though,
Yeah.
that shoe in
Yes.
5 years is gonna look like a ridiculous clown slipper when people wear it. When you're not in that moment when like a tag on a shoe and an inside out exposed shoe and all that shit's trending right now. It's
Yeah.
one thing. In 5 years, that shit's gonna look crazy.
Well-
absolutely nuts. Tell me, I'm curious.
No, it's funny though. I look at a lot of the shoes I feel like a lot of the shoes that I have are pieces that are in the moment. So like
Yep.
for example, when Don C had the Don C 2s, the quilted, I have both pairs from 2015, and if I look at them now and I'm like, what the fuck?
Nah, I love those.
But
So,
I
this
hate
is the
that he has
difference.
them.
Those, from a design perspective, those are crisp, clean lines and beautiful. Like if that was the design on a building, you'd stare at it. If the Presto with the inside-out seams and kind of like the floppiness was on a building, it would look sloppy.
I do think about that in terms of like, especially with like Chicago's and the way that those sneakers age. Like some of those sneakers age piss poorly.
Right?
And people spend a lot of money for Off-White Nike collab, and even a year from now, like the foam is yellow. Like the white Prestos that came out. You look how poorly those age.
Bad.
You do think about like how will it look in 5 years. Whereas some sneakers I have, 5 years from now, I'm like, oh my god, I have some dunks that have aged beautifully. So you do think about that. I do think about that a lot with his stuff.
Yeah, I think you hit it though. But I would say like the 2s, I think those will last longer. Even though the 2 is goofy already, right?
Two,
like
yes.
2's a little goofy already.
Yeah, for sure.
I think those there'll be a time when like all one color comes back and you'll pull those out and feel fucking awesome with them.
I can agree with you on that too. I mean, when you think about certain things like where Kanye started, like with the Red Octobers, or when you started having that monotone, that one color on a shoe from 2013, 14 on for those couple year stretches, definitely it was something that not many people did, but I can agree with you in a sense on that.
Yeah, and I feel like now it's kind of, and again, I think you had a good point that in the moment, some of this stuff is amazing. And, or, I'll use the word amazing. Some of it I think is, but it's definitely a moment thing. And I think right now the moment is kind of like, it's all about innovation. Like before it was about doing a really clean, dope look on a shoe. Now it's all about how can I do something that no one has ever done? And so you're getting crazier ideas left and right. Like this time they're going to, Jeremy Scott probably started it with the wings on the shoes, and then Virgil's putting plastic tags on his, and the instructions from a tech pack is on the outside of the shoe written down. Like people are trying to be innovative, and I think we'll probably I don't know. This always happens where like shit gets really loud, then it gets really clean, then it gets really loud again. Then this demo is counterculture, right? We just want to rebel against the norm. So if everybody's on crazy looking shit, we're going to go clean. If everybody gets clean, we're going to go crazy again. And the people in the front of that are always going to push it towards the opposite when they're ready. So like everybody's starting to wear baggy pants again right now because
it's coming back my way, baby.
I love it. It makes me feel 14 again.
No way. Skinny jeans all day, baby.
No, but see, that's what I'm saying. So there's a whole antithesis to that now, going baggy again. And I think it's the same thing remember when everybody started wearing raw denim and like Americana, like
still doing it, baby.
I like that.
Fucking raw denims right now, APC, baby.
But at one point towards that, like I started wanting to look hood again. Like I went from my whole life I dressed in urban or streetwear clothes. I got really into the raw denim and heritage and dress hats and all that stuff. And then I was like, man, we all look like a sea of the same people. So I think I'm going to go back to like Air Force Ones and baggy jeans, and it'll make me feel myself again at least. And so I think it's, it comes in waves. That's the thing. Like I'm very curious where footwear goes. The fives, just to get back to that, surprised me. That's not even a look I would have thought would have worked right now. The fucking shoe itself is so tall. Nothing about that would I have thought was right now.
I think we can lead this conversation based off what you just said into probably like the last topic that we have time for. And it's Virgil said it himself. He thinks that there's like a bubble and it's going to pop.
Yeah.
And conceptually, like from my perspective, things being so weak, being driven by hype, it's like, I can kind of see that coming. We were talking about the Supreme drop that just happened, where there's only a couple things that sell for high money. The rest, it's either you brick or you don't make any money on it. So if you're not making any money on the resale game for one of the biggest brands that's ever existed, if conceptually things can be weak but sell very high, like Virgil's, whatever, like where do you think this goes as far as like is there a bubble? Basically, I'm asking. Like,
that's a great question.
I mean, I'm sure you guys talk about this all the time because you have to like report and sell on this stuff constantly.
I think there's a couple things. I think one, like I look at it as this demo. It's kind of what I said before. This demographic is counterculture, and there's different forms of that. There's punk rock, there's hip hop, and I'm talking more musically now, but like that influences how people dress, right? So there's different pockets, but we're all counterculture to some extent.
Yeah.
I don't see when streetwear came, it was the end of urban clothing. Sean Johns, Rockwear's, Ecko, right? That was ending, and everybody was like, nah, fuck that. We're letting skateboarders in. We're letting BMXers in. We're letting punk kids in. And it's going to be this mixture now, not just urban hip-hop brands, but it's going to be all countercultures together. And that's really what streetwear became. Heavy skate influence, but it was the merging of cultures, right? All in the counterculture, though. If that dies, that just means that like the classic Supreme skate style, which was the heaviest influence, will die. This demo of people still going on to whatever cool counterculture-ass clothes are going to be served to us. So call it streetwear, call it urban, I don't care. This demo is still going to support and collect and be obsessed with whatever clothes comes next. So to me, that's still streetwear. I'll still call it streetwear, whether it's the common term or not at that point. I see it as the same thing. So the statement of it's dying makes no sense.
I understand.
Unless there's a shift coming where everybody decides to dress at the Gap again.
Right.
If that shift came, right, because there was, like in the 90s, everybody just shopped at Gap and wherever you could get clothes. You'd go to Macy's for Tommy and Polo, and you'd go to, there was chains. That was all that existed.
Right.
And so I'm saying, like, unless people go back to that, which I think we're all too independent thinking now, we all want to express ourselves and be different.
It's very fair.
I see independent brands only getting stronger, only more independent brands to come, but it'll be hard to get huge. I don't think there'll be another Ecko at 500
it's going to be like a lot of niche brands.
Yeah, I don't think you could get to be 500 mil because the moment something hits big, no one who supported it in the beginning wants it anymore.
Yeah.
So if you crack 20 mil now, you're probably done. It's sad to say.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably like a 20 mil. Like once you
somewhere
get into Zoomies,
I hear Chinatown's in like the 30-40 mil a year range, which is crazy. Chinatown Market.
I hate that brand.
It's an interesting one. I don't wear it. Like you're not gonna catch me in that. But I think what he's doing is awesome.
Similar statement.
Yeah.
I'll follow. And I like ICNY. That was a great brand.
I loved it.
It was a very utilitarian, like very functional, purposeful
Yep.
brand. For him to go to do China, I mean, this is a whole different thing. But I'm like,
No,
confused.
it's a good part of it because I think ICNY was what we all thought streetwear was. Chinatown is like the most basic form of just like ripping what's going on in the market and flipping it.
Yeah.
But he just was like, you know what? If that's what's going to work, I'm going to do it. And I feel like he's making tons of money, probably more than anyone else in the business right now.
It's befuddling.
Yep.
It's amazing, right? Like, I just can't believe that. I can't believe he's ripping off like Nike or Adidas and then does projects with Nike or Adidas right after.
Mind-blowing.
No
It
one
makes me so angry.
No one has ever done this.
No.
Everyone gets sued, and Nike puts you on essentially a blacklist if you do stuff like that, and you'll never get a project with them. It's
No.
so weird.
But they're
But-
chilling.
But his
He's
whole
killing
thing,
it.
his
He's
whole
killing
thing is like, I'm just doing what China does.
yeah, listen.
And then
the
Nike's
theme,
like,
the
yeah,
theme
all
is-
right,
the
sure.
theme makes sense, right? I
Yeah.
get the theme,
No,
but
no, it
Am
actually
I
really
okay
is
with
a
the
good story.
theme? Probably not.
and how did he pull it off? Is the thing?
Yeah.
How
That's
did he
the
get
thing,
them?
yeah.
To, I think he's just got friends, good friends.
I think. No, I mean, he does for sure.
yeah.
But I think we're gonna wrap this
Yeah,
up.
we
Sweet.
gotta wrap this up.
Plug anything that you want to plug.
Nah, nothing. Nothing
Okay.
at all.
Go ahead. Go
You
on
know what?
network.
No, my fault. My fault. I'll plug ayahuasca tourism. I think everybody should go and get their mind right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Alright.
gonna take it random.
All right.
All right. There you
Alright.
go. And those listening, Trevisus, LZD325, not that Cheney. You guys can go to the Instagram. We got a phone number. You could text or leave us a voicemail. Join the Discord. Whatever the fuck else. Follow Holland.
Oh, Holland, be thy name.
Yeah, Holland's on Instagram. Follow him. He's a great guy. And is that any other closing thoughts?
That's it, man.
That's it, man.
That was fun, guys.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Bong.
Bong.